So I'd like to welcome you all today. I'm here coming from a brand new school that we're opening up called Mousam River STEM Academy. It's located in Alfred, Maine, not too far from here, just about, I would say a 25 minute drive, not too bad. And I'm a mathematician and an engineer, so I wanted to do some cool experiments with you today. And today's experiment kind of has to do more with science than engineering. Does anybody know? Did anyone's parents or grandparents tell you what the topic of our experiments is going to be today? It's a total surprise? Yeah, all right. So we're going to do some experiments having to do with electricity today. Now, I'm hoping I can have a volunteer come up. Does anyone want to raise their hand and be a volunteer for me? Okay, come on up. Now, our first experiment, you're all going to get to try this, but I want one person to help test it out with me to show you how it works. This right here, we call it an energy ball. It has something inside of it that's kind of holding the energy in it that's going to help us make electricity soon, right? But there's a problem. The circuit, which is a path for the electricity to flow, was left open on this little ball. So in here, somewhere, we have light switches. I don't know where they are. But if we were going to turn them off, you wouldn't have any lights on because you've now opened up that circuit. The electricity can't flow up into the light bulbs. Well, in here, the circuit was left open too. There's a little light bulb inside that will turn on when we close the circuit. And we're going to try to do that together. All right. So inside here is this little tiny thing that's holding all the electricity, all the energy in it that's going to... Does anyone know what it could be inside there? Something small that can hold the electricity until we close the circuit and then the electricity will flow? What do you think?
Is this like the iron core of the sun?
Okay, that's a little different, but that has to do with it. So iron can actually conduct electricity. It can. That means the electricity can flow through it. But there's something else inside here that's holding the electricity in it.
A light bulb?
Ooh, the light bulb will use the electricity. What do you think?
Cells.
Say it again.
Cells.
Cells? Oh, well, we've got lots of cells, but there's some particular type of thing in here that maybe you have some toys at home that need this in order to get electricity to run. And when it runs out, sometimes we say, oh, no, we have to replace the, do you know?
Batteries.
Batteries, that's it. So there's a battery inside here. Now it's a very tiny battery, so it's not going to give you any sort of a shock or anything. Playing with electricity when there's a lot of electricity can be dangerous to our bodies, but there's a very tiny battery inside of here, so we can actually connect the circuit using our body. So can you touch the metal piece on this side and then touch the other metal piece? Oh no, is this the one I dropped? Hold on one sec. There was one that I dropped and I should have tested it out ahead of time. Try again. Super. All right, now, all right, close up the circuit again. So cool. Now let's try this. You touch this side. I'm going to touch this side. Now let's touch our fingers together.
Wow.
So cool. So our bodies conduct electricity and it goes right through us. So we're going to try this in teams. But what I've done for you, thank you so much. You can go sit down, thanks. What I've done is I've collected a bunch of different materials that I want you to test out. I want to see if electricity can go through some of these materials or not. If electricity can travel through the material just like our body, we're going to say those are conductors. If electricity cannot go through it, we're going to say it's an insulator. Question?
Like a pickle.
Like a pickle? That would be such a curious thing to test, to see if it's an insulator or a conductor. Now, I actually have, what's this little guy's name?
Dipsy.
Dipsy. Can you bring Dipsy up? I want to try Dipsy to see if it's going to work. Okay. And can you help us too? We need like a third person up here. All right. So do you know how when we just touch here, you grab my pinky. Let's put Dipsy off to the side for a sec. Pinky? Promise. Okay. Pinky. And can you go, oh, you know what? How about we do this? You touch the metal on that side. All right, now you guys connect your fingers. Okay, super. We're conducting electricity. This is working really good. Now let's try to see, let's make a hypothesis together. everybody who thinks that Dipsy's going to work, the electricity will flow through, why don't you stand up? If you think the electricity will not go through this little cute dinosaur, stay seated. Make a guess. What do you think? It's okay if you're wrong, I don't mind. We have one person who thinks that maybe the electricity might go through the little dinosaur. Well, let's test it out. All right, so you guys are going to hold on to this little guy's arms. Yep, all right. Now you're going to connect to my pinky. All right, I'm going to touch this side, and you touch the metal on the other side. No, it won't. All right, now let's test it out just to make sure the ball's still working. All right, now you just do your fingers again. Go ahead. Yeah, all right. So the stuffy was an insulator. That would go in the red plate on your table. So anything that does not work as an insulator, put it on your red plate. Anything that does work, put it on your green plate. So I want you guys to break up into your 3 groups here. Pull out all the materials. First start by making a guess. Put it on the plate you think it belongs to. And when you're ready, raise your hand and I will come give you your group an energy ball and you can all test it out. Go ahead, and you guys can work together as a team. There might be a little iron in that one, and that's why that one could be working. Not all the rocks have iron in them, so we're going to talk about, depending on what the ingredients are in the rock, it will either work or not work.
I have never done this before. It's a bit new.
Yeah, this is why I'm here.
This is let's try it again.
You're creating a circuit right here. We don't want that to happen, so I'll hold the ball. Just touch the metal and don't touch any fingers to each other. Yeah, if we get close to each other on our skin, then we will sometimes... Oh, you're touching your fingers. Don't let your fingers touch. There we go. Ah, get away from your fingers. So if everyone wants to find their seat again... So I'm going to call out each item, and then we'll talk about why they were conductors or insulators. Some of the curious things is that some of the materials, depending on what they were made of or how you held them, you might have found that they had conductors or insulators on them. But let's start out with an easy one belonged in the insulator pile. When you tested it out, you probably learned it belonged in the conductor pile. And maybe then you saw that there's a piece of metal going through it. And the electricity was conducting right through the metal.
Maybe a pencil.
So the pencil was a very curious one. Did anyone test the pencil and get this to be an insulator?
Yeah. Wait, we didn't, but I know it does because right here is metal.
Okay. If you just tested just this metal up here, which is aluminum, you would have found that it works. Like that. But you could only test it for the electricity flowing in one side of the metal and out the other side. Like that. If you test it holding the wood at any point, it will not work.
I got it.
So it kind of depended on how you tested.
I got what?
The rock. Now, the rock is a very interesting one. If the rock had iron in it, it could be a conductor because iron's a conductor. If the rock did not have iron in it or any other conductive material, it would be an insulator.
It doesn't have any metal.
So you had to test out your rock to see if it was going to work or not work. And scientists have to do that. Sometimes they test out all sorts of different things to figure out. For you guys, it didn't work. You didn't have any iron in yours. All right. Does anyone have any questions about this experiment? Yes.
It's weird that the white, like the batteries in it, when it makes that noise, it sounds like something else.
Yeah, so there's a little noisemaker, a little light bulb, a little battery, and some wires inside of here. And so when you complete the circuit, you're turning on the light and the noisemaker, and the electricity's flowing through the wires. Oh yes, the blue thing, the bingo chip. Some of the bingo chips have a little bit of metal that you can kind of touch around the outside. If you tested it and it worked, it's because you were able to get your fingers to kind of get in there and touch that metal. If your fingers were only touching the plastic, it does not work. It's an insulator. Yes? You could connect a conductor next to a conductor next to a conductor next to a conductor and it would work. But if you even stick one insulator in there, it's not going to work. Right? Very cool. Yeah. Right, exactly. Super. We have another experiment to do. Keep your plates, but you can put your little materials back in that baggie and then pass the baggies towards me. We have another experiment to do. I learned something recently that I thought was super awesome. Play-Doh is conductive. I did not know that before. But because it has salt and water as some of the ingredients, that makes the Play-Doh conduct electricity through it. So I brought a bunch of Play-Doh, and we'll kind of each get a little bit to play with. But what we're going to do is we're going to do an experiment with Play-Doh, and we're going to have electricity go right through the Play-Doh. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to kind of hand out like a blob about this big to each person. So if you want to come up, I'll pass this out, and you can just kind of make a line if you want, and I'll give everyone a piece of Play-Doh. Here you go. Super. Squishy Play-Doh. So with the Play-Doh, you can kind of make it into a shape, yeah, like that. Like you kind of roll it either on the table or in your hands. So you've got one end and a second end. Really, any shape will do. Cookies will do as well. So we're going to pretend this is like a very thick wire, because a wire is just a piece of metal that electricity conducts through, but this is now a piece of Play-Doh that electricity conducts through. And we're going to kind of curl it like this, but don't let your circle close, because we're going, yeah. That's okay. Really, any Play-Doh shape will do as long as it has a beginning and an end. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass out a little tiny light bulb to everybody. These types of light bulbs are called LED. Does anyone know what LED means?
It's a type of battery.
Well, it's a type of light bulb that we can connect to a battery and we can turn it on. So LED is a light emitting diode, which means the electricity will only flow through it in one direction. So the little light bulb is going to look like this. Okay, it's a little red one. And what you're going to do is, when you have your Play-Doh kind of close to each other, you're then going to stick your light bulb in one side and in the other, kind of like that. Okay? Okay. Yeah. Now I want to make sure everybody gets this step right before we go to our next step, because nothing's going to turn on right now. We're just getting ourselves set up. Yes. Yeah. And you're just going to want to make sure, we don't want to connect our circle, because then the electricity is just going to flow through here. It's not going to want to go up and over. So we're making like a little bridge.
Space in between.
Yeah, that's why we wanted to make a circle that wasn't quite closed. And you guys too, this is touching, so we don't want it to touch. So what we'll do is we'll open this up a little bit like this, move that apart. Because we want the electricity to kind of go up and over the LED light. Thanks for helping, that's great. So now the next part about this is I need you to pretend like your finger's a little saw. At the bottom of your loop, let's see, I'll make another loop just to show you what it was like. So you've got your LED kind of connected up here. Just pretend the LED's up here. At the bottom, I want you to chop this, so now it's disconnected. Okay? So you're just going to chop the bottom of your circle, leave the LED where it is, but chop the other side of your circle so it's disconnected. Chop at the bottom. You can pretend your fingers are a little scissor, or you can chop it like a knife. Yeah. The next thing I'm going to hand out looks like this. Does anyone know what this is? So it's got these wires. The electricity is going to be able to flow through it, but something's going to pop into here. Yeah, I knew someone would get it. So this is going to be our battery holder. We'll connect our batteries in a moment. But when I pass this out, you're basically going to plug your red wire into one and your black wire into your other. So red wire goes in one side, black wire goes in the other side. All right? So red wire goes into one side, black wire. This is the one my cat got too. Okay. Let me look and see how we're doing. Good, good. All right, this is looking good. Very nice. Awesome. Okay, I did. And you have the black wire connected into one side. So if you trace with your finger, start your finger out at your battery pack, trace up the black wire, doesn't matter which direction, follow onto your Play-Doh, follow your finger around to your LED light, then around to your next piece of Play-Doh, back through the red wire and back to your battery pack. Right? That's the path the electricity is going to flow. All right. The last part that we need to add is the batteries. Good. Now on every set of batteries, there's always a positive and a negative. Positive and negative is also on your battery pack, the red wire and the black wire, positive and negative. The LED lights actually also have a positive and a negative side. So when you're dealing with electricity, it's always good to figure out where your positive and negative is. On the battery itself, you'll see a little plus right at the top. That's your positive. Now you're going to have to look with an eagle eye in your battery holder to see where the positive needs to go.
A battery holds lots of electricity.
It does. So in your battery holder, you're going to look for a little plus. Usually the little plus is far away from the metal spring. Far away from the metal spring. So take a look inside there with an eagle eye and you'll be able to see your plus. So you're going to get your first battery in on one side and then I'll walk around and we'll put the second battery in, okay? Now the one part about safety with this is we are going to keep our wires from touching each other. We want them to go through the Play-Doh. Yep. Here we go. It's rolling towards you, ladies. And I'll come around and give you a second battery once you get your first one in. If the LED light does not light up, all you need to do is switch your wires. So take the black and red and then pull them out and then push them in the other direction. So swap them. So your light's working. Oh yeah.
Is yours? So switch your wires.
Don't know. Do we have lights that just control this area by any chance? So let's try that first. All right, let's try this second. Thank you, that's perfect. That's working out great. All right. Now, this is called a series circuit. A series circuit lets the electricity flow in one path, starting from the battery pack all the way around through the light bulb and back this way. I'm going to challenge you to make another series circuit, and the one thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that when we pull our batteries out, that I'll come or the adults can come around. We got to pop one of the batteries out. The best way to never kind of have trouble with electricity is to pull out your power source when we're doing the next part of our experiment. I have little Play-Doh creature pieces for you to build little Play-Doh creatures, and I want to challenge you to see if you can build a funny little creature and then make a series circuit with that Play-Doh creature and get the light bulb to light up again. See if you can build a little creature with your Play-Doh.
Cool.
And I have more creature pieces. So if you run out of something, I've got a whole second bin. If you need some more Play-Doh, here you go.
I can't even make it.
Did anyone run out of any pieces they really wanted?
I ran out of some eyeballs.
Eyeballs, all right. You can try to put your LED light connected on a bridge, just like we did before. I love it. Do you want to try to get an LED light to light up now? Want to get the light bulb to light up? So when you're ready, get another piece of Play-Doh next to it and connect your LED to your 2 pieces of Play-Doh. Oh, it looks so good. I love how you made 2 creatures next to each other and then you got the LED to light up. That is so super. If anyone's curious to come see one working, you can come over here. She's got 2 creatures next to each other with the LED in between and made her circuit that way. The one challenge you've got here is you've got your Play-Doh touching more Play-Doh. So I like where you're going with this. All right, let's touch it this way. If it doesn't work, we have to swap it around.
All right, wait, you ready to try?
There we go.
Flow through my little
So cool. I love it. That came out great. Yeah, so I'm gonna come over to this side and we're gonna come and help out this kiddo. Let's test it this way, and if not, we're gonna swap our wires and test it again. There we go. Super. So you've got your electricity coming through around this way. I'm gonna just say thank you for coming today because this was super and you all did a great job. But every scientist has to clean up their spot before they leave. So if you can take all of your batteries, pop them out, bring them up with your battery pack and your LED light, and then start to take apart your little creature and bring your Play-Doh up. Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. It was so great to have you as part of our activity.